It had been one full year since that unforgettable wedding in Abeokuta, the one that broke the internet, the one people still whispered about when the power went out and gossip was the only entertainment left. Amaka had rebuilt her life quietly. Her bridal shop, no more tears. Bridals had become a local sensation. Brides came from all over Ogun State just to buy her gowns, not just for their beauty, but because everyone said, if you buy from Amaka, your marriage will last. She had turned her pain into purpose. But even though she smiled every day, deep down, Amaka's heart had built a tall fence, one that no man could easily climb. Every evening she would close the shop, make herself a cup of zobo, sit by the window, and tell herself she was fine. But the truth? She was lonely. Her phone buzzed often with admirers, customers, friends, even pastors' sons, but she politely said, I am not ready. She told herself she didn't need love again. She told herself it was safer that way. Until one Friday morning, when fate walked right into her shop, wearing a blue suit and a smile that could melt even a frozen heart. His name was Emeka. He was from Enugu, tall, soft spoken, and his eyes carried that gentle kind of strength, the kind that didn't need to shout to be heard. Good morning, he said, walking in with a calm confidence. I'm looking for a wedding gown. Amaka raised a brow. For yourself? He laughed. Not yet. For my sister. She's getting married next month, and someone told me you're the best in Abeokuta. Amaka smiled politely. They told you right. Let's find us something beautiful. As they talked, there was something about him, his patience, his respect, his quiet humor. He didn't flirt, didn't stare too long, he just listened. When she gave him a discount, he didn't argue. He said softly, You have a good heart, Miss Amaka. The world needs more of that. Those words lingered. He came again the next week to pick up the gown, then again to thank her personally after the wedding, then again just to say hello. And before Amaka knew it, she found herself laughing again, really laughing, the kind that comes from somewhere deep. But every time Emeka got close, she froze. When he asked her to dinner, she smiled sadly and said, I'm not ready for love. He didn't pressure her. He simply nodded. It's okay. I'll wait until your heart says yes that night. Amaka couldn't sleep. Her mind replayed his words. I'll wait. No man had ever said that to her. Not like that. Not with such sincerity. But her heart was still afraid. One evening, she told her best friend Ngozi, What if it happens again? What if I open my heart and get hurt? Ngozi sighed, sipping her malt. Amaka, even pain can't stop love when it's real. You were broken, yes, but broken things can still shine. Don't let your past stop your future. Amaka didn't answer. She just smiled weakly. Days turned into weeks. Emeka kept showing up, sometimes with coffee, sometimes with flowers, sometimes just with that warm smile. He wasn't trying to fix her, he just wanted to be there. And slowly, like the first rain after dry season, Amaka's heart began to soften. But before she could decide whether to let him in, something unexpected happened. One Saturday afternoon, as she was closing her shop, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Amaka, please don't turn away. Her heart froze. She knew that voice. She turned, and there stood Chidinma. Her once vibrant sister looked different now. Slimmer, humble, eyes red, voice trembling. I've been looking for you for months, Chidinma said, her voice cracking. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I ruined everything. Our family, your happiness. I was foolish. Olumide left me. He used me and disappeared. I've lost everything. Amaka said nothing. She just looked at her sister, the same sister she had loved and trusted all her life. Chidinma fell to her knees right there on the dusty floor. she whispered, tears falling fast. I've prayed, I've cried. I just want my sister back. You don't have to love me, just please don't hate me anymore. For a long moment, the only sound was the wind. Then Amaka sighed and knelt down too. She took Chidinma's hand gently. I did hate you, she said honestly, but it was killing me more than it was punishing you. I forgive you, Chidinma, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. They both cried. For the first time in a long while, Amaka felt something lift off her chest, like a heavy chain finally breaking. Emeka, who had come to surprise her that evening, stood quietly outside the shop, watching the scene through the window. He didn't interrupt. He just smiled softly. Later that night, Amaka told him everything: the betrayal, the pain, the guilt. She expected him to walk away, but he didn't. Instead, he said, Amaka, scars don't make you unlovable, they make you real. I don't want a perfect woman. I want a healed one, and I can wait as long as it takes. For the first time in forever, Amaka's heart didn't feel afraid. It felt ready. She smiled shyly. You really don't give up easily, do you? Emeka chuckled. When I know what I want, I don't. She laughed. A full, joyful laugh that filled the night air. And right there, under the faint glow of Abeokuta street lights, Amaka realized something powerful. Love isn't about forgetting the past. It's about finding someone who makes your heart feel safe again. Months later, when Emeka proposed, quietly, simply, without fanfare, Amaka didn't cry this time. She just smiled and said, yes. Even Chidinma, now rebuilding her life, stood beside her sister that day. No secrets, no shame, only peace. On the wedding day, as the guests cheered, Auntie Ronki shouted from the back, ah, this time it's real love. Oh, I can feel it from here. Everyone laughed. And when Amaka danced with Emeka that night, her eyes shone brighter than the wedding lights. Because this time, it wasn't about revenge or pain or fear. It was about healing and a love gentle enough to stay. And my people, you see life? After all the wahala, love still won in the end though. Amaka found her peace. Her sister found forgiveness. And we found gist. If you enjoyed this story, I beg subscribe, like, and turn on that bell because plenty sweet African stories are still loading. Till next time, make love no wahala.